Communication tips. Build a communication plan. From the moment a project is initiated until its completion, effective communication is vital. You must engage with the project sponsor to ensure their expectations are being met and with the project team to monitor progress and address any issues that arise. Communication may also extend to customers, suppliers, other departments within your company, and even government regulators to keep everyone informed about the project's objectives. A well-structured communications plan is essential for this. Creating one is straightforward. Start by identifying the key stakeholders and grouping them accordingly. Then, determine the type of information you need to share with each group, whether it's providing updates or seeking feedback. Choose the appropriate communication channels for each interaction, such as email, phone conferences, or face-to-face meetings. Finally, establish the frequency of these communications. By following these steps, you can develop a comprehensive communications plan that ensures smooth collaboration and project success. Ask the right project questions. As project managers, effective communication is key to our success. Often, we need team members to complete tasks or provide updates on their progress. However, with everyone's busy schedules, it can be challenging to get timely responses. The reality is that our success hinges on these responses. Therefore, we must find ways to make it as easy as possible for people to fulfill our requests. For instance, if you require weekly input from your team, consider setting up an online survey with a user-friendly form and automatic reminders instead of sending multiple emails or scheduling numerous meetings. Additionally, when using email or text messages, keep them concise and place the main point at the beginning to avoid being ignored as TLDR, too long, didn't read. By making your requests clear and straightforward, you increase the likelihood of prompt responses. Survey tools for project management. The most productive meetings are those where we address current issues and strategize on solutions. In contrast, meetings where we simply recount our weekly activities tend to be less effective. To optimize everyone's time, consider implementing a system to gather team inputs before the meeting. For instance, if we have a weekly update meeting on Wednesday, you could send out a survey form on Monday morning for the team to complete by Tuesday afternoon. Alternatively, you could have brief calls or face-to-face chats with team members to gather their inputs. Summarize these inputs into a report or scorecard and share it with the team prior to the meeting. This approach ensures that everyone arrives prepared, aware of progress and challenges, which sharpens the focus on critical issues. Often, this method is so efficient that meetings can end early, allowing the team to use the extra time for other productive tasks. Data visualization for project management. Visuals can communicate complex information swiftly and effectively because our brains are designed to process images more rapidly than text. Leverage this when managing projects by presenting your data visually. For instance, use a pie chart to display the percentage of task completion. Employ bar charts to illustrate counts, frequencies, or comparisons. Line charts are excellent for depicting changes over time, while matrices or heat maps are ideal for comparing different criteria, such as risk probabilities and impacts. A well-designed chart can instantly draw attention to critical issues, like identifying high-probability, high-impact risks. To maximize the usefulness of your charts, keep them simple and uncluttered. Avoid overcrowding them with text, unnecessary decimal points, or excessive labels. The main objective of a chart is to facilitate quick and easy comprehension of large amounts of information. Project scorecards for reporting. When managing a project, having a clear and simple way to track progress is essential. One of the most effective tools for this is a project scorecard. Start by identifying the key metrics you need to monitor. These could include the status of major milestones, weekly tasks, and any issues that need resolution to ensure smooth progress. Additionally, you can incorporate sections for budget tracking and risk monitoring. Utilize a mix of text, numbers, and charts to present this information clearly. It's best to keep your scorecard concise, ideally fitting on a single sheet of paper, to allow for a quick snapshot of the project's status. This approach not only provides a clear overview but also serves as a project journal, helping you identify trends and derive insights for future projects. There's no one-size-fits-all template for a project scorecard, so feel free to experiment with different formats to find what works best for you. By integrating a scorecard into your project management routine, you'll streamline your workflow and enhance communication with your team. Tips for project update meetings. Track unexpected project issues. In any project management role, staying informed about issues is crucial for effective decision-making and problem-solving. Maintaining an organized issues list is key to this process. Personally, I prefer using a spreadsheet format that includes essential details. Each issue is assigned a unique identifier for clarity and reference. I record the date of identification along with a concise description of the issue. Tracking its status and assigning accountability ensures timely resolution. It's also important to outline the next steps and set follow-up dates to ensure closure. Additionally, leaving space for notes accommodates the unique aspects of each issue. This structured approach not only facilitates clear communication and prioritization within the team but also provides a comprehensive view of each issue's history and future actions. It's a proactive way to ensure that all concerns are addressed promptly and effectively. How to raise project concerns. Even with the best planning, surprises will inevitably arise, and as project managers, it's crucial to create an environment where team members feel comfortable raising concerns and addressing issues. Project sponsors often focus intensely on outcomes, which can sometimes lead to a dismissive attitude towards the details. This can make team members hesitant to voice their concerns. To truly understand the project's status, we need to actively solicit and consider feedback. One effective approach is to include time for discussion in meeting agendas, but informal check-ins can also be valuable. When issues are raised, it's essential to take actionable steps to resolve them. Ultimately, ensuring that team members feel safe and encouraged to share their concerns is key. How are you facilitating open communication and addressing concerns within your projects? Avoid extra project costs. In many projects I've managed, rework has consistently been a central issue. Rework, or the necessity to redo tasks that were previously completed, is often a given in project management. However, MIT professor John Sterman highlights that rework can trigger a compounding effect, leading to delays, scope alterations, and a chain reaction of additional tasks that also require redoing. To minimize this impact, project managers should focus on two key strategies. First, before starting the work, involve team members in reviewing the plan thoroughly to ensure no critical details are missed. Second, once the project is underway, closely monitor any potential changes in scope, schedule, or budget and address them promptly. By identifying and managing changes early, we can prevent the additional cost and time associated with redoing work. Monitor project risks. When discussing project risks, I'm referring to the inherent uncertainties that come with any project. Despite meticulous planning, some level of risk and unpredictability is inevitable. An effective way to manage these risks is by using a risk register, a document where you list potential risks, assess their likelihood, and evaluate their potential impact on your project. This allows you to prioritize risks through a risk index, which takes into account both the severity and probability of each risk. By using this index, you can determine the most appropriate response strategy, whether to avoid, accept, transfer, or mitigate the risk. Remember, risks aren't always negative. With the right preparation, you can often turn unexpected challenges into opportunities. For a step-by-step guide on creating a risk register, check out the tutorial in my project management course. I'm confident that maintaining a risk register will enhance your project management practices. How to use a meeting parking lot. To keep your project meetings productive and on track, implementing a parking lot system can be highly effective. At the start of your meeting, ensure everyone agrees on focusing on the agenda items and addressing issues that can be resolved immediately. Introduce the concept of the parking lot to capture off-topic or unresolved issues. For in-person meetings, use a flip chart or whiteboard to jot down these items. In online meetings, set up a shared document for this purpose. When an off-topic issue arises, ask for permission to add it to the parking lot, summarizing it clearly and noting the responsible individuals. After the meeting, promptly plan how to address each parking lot issue and update the concerned team members. Try incorporating a parking lot in your next meeting, and you'll likely see improvements in efficiency and time management. Point 5. Helping your team succeed. Manage a project crisis. While most projects proceed without major issues, there are instances when a struggling project can escalate into a full-blown crisis. As a project manager, it's almost inevitable that you'll face such a situation at some point. Here are a few strategies to navigate through it. First, prioritize the well-being of your team. People under stress or fear can't perform their best. Ensure that everyone feels safe and understand that you genuinely care about their concerns. Next, evaluate the situation thoroughly and develop a recovery plan. I've developed a technique called the direct method for this purpose, which you can explore in my course on project leadership. After the crisis is managed, take time to analyze what went wrong and how you can improve for the future. Remember, while crises are challenging, they also offer valuable lessons and opportunities for growth if handled effectively. Manage budget cuts and personnel changes. In project planning, we inevitably rely on numerous assumptions about the future. However, once the project commences, we must adeptly manage changes, especially those as formidable as losing key team members or facing budget constraints. To navigate these challenges effectively, consider aligning your project goals with broader business objectives. Assess the project's priority amidst other initiatives. Sometimes, it may be strategic to postpone or even discontinue the project in light of significant changes. However, if proceeding is the best course, focus on task specifics. For personnel changes, identify tasks most impacted and facilitate smooth transitions. In the face of budget cuts, explore adjusting task sequences to reduce monthly expenditure. Stretching timelines or compressing non-essential tasks can often mitigate financial strain without compromising project objectives. What is scope creep? Projects can sometimes evolve beyond their original scope, which isn't always a bad thing. Customer feedback might lead to valuable new features, or you might identify opportunities for impactful adjustments. However, when these changes start to affect the project's goals, it's known as scope creep. Scope creep can be problematic because expanding the project's scope usually requires additional resources and time. If not managed properly, it can lead to either resource shortages or continual delays. To prevent scope creep, start by defining clear goals in the project charter before beginning work. Establish a change approval process that evaluates the impact on scope, schedule, and budget. When changes are approved, update the project charter, plan, and budget accordingly, and ensure the team is informed of the updates. Maintain team engagement. In today's fast-paced world, balancing multiple priorities can make it tough to keep your team focused on a single project. As a project manager, it's crucial to continually capture and hold your team's attention. One effective strategy is to ensure regular communication. Stay in touch through meetings, webinars, emails, or even text messages to keep the project at the forefront of everyone's mind. Regular updates on project status and individual contributions can help maintain focus. Additionally, recognizing and celebrating milestones can greatly boost morale and engagement. Acknowledge achievements publicly, and consider organizing celebrations or offering incentives for significant milestones. Engaging your team is essential for project success. How are you keeping your project team motivated and focused? Close out a project. As a project approaches its conclusion, it's crucial for project managers to transition from managing ongoing tasks to focusing on project closure. Start by revisiting the project charter to ensure all initial requirements have been met. Next, establish a comprehensive closure plan that addresses each project component. Determine how the development team will manage customer acceptance and handoff, and clarify what the accounting team requires to finalize accounts and monitor financials. For tasks that are nearly completed but need minor adjustments, create a punch list to keep track of these final touches. Additionally, hold a lessons learned meeting with the project team to evaluate successes and identify areas for improvement. Lastly, compile a project summary into a binder for future reference, ensuring that all aspects of the project are documented for any potential questions that may arise later. Agile project tips. What is an agile project? The traditional method of project management, often referred to as the waterfall model, involves meticulous upfront planning followed by a sequential execution where each phase depends on the completion of the previous one. While this method might seem logical, it can quickly become inflexible and bureaucratic, struggling to adapt to rapidly changing and unpredictable environments. This is where Agile project management comes in. Agile, particularly popular in software development, offers a more dynamic, collaborative, and streamlined approach. It prioritizes communication and iterative development over rigid processes and extensive documentation. The principles of Agile are encapsulated in the Agile Manifesto, a succinct document outlining 4 key values: valuing individuals and interactions over processes and tools, prioritizing working software over comprehensive documentation, fostering customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and adapting to change over strictly following a plan. Agile emphasizes ongoing customer value and iterative improvements, allowing teams to adjust and refine the project as they go, rather than striving for perfection from the outset. What is a persona? Agile development emphasizes the importance of delivering genuine value to customers. But what exactly do your customers need? Each customer is distinct with their own unique needs and preferences, yet they share common traits. A persona helps bridge this gap by representing a segment of your customer base with a set of characteristics that guide product development. This fictional representation includes details such as demographics, goals, motivations, and challenges. Personas can be crafted from customer discovery and market research, or they can document the assumptions you have about your audience. Unlike broad market segments, personas add a personal touch by humanizing your customers, making it easier to connect project tasks with their real-world needs. This approach not only helps in creating user stories but also in ensuring that each aspect of your project aligns with delivering value to your customers. What is a user story? Storytelling is a powerful method for both learning and teaching, and it's particularly effective in Agile projects where user stories play a crucial role. These stories help us envision future scenarios by focusing on the user. A user story typically starts with a persona representing the user and outlines a narrative from their perspective. For instance, a user story might follow the format: as a user, I want feature, so that benefit. For example, as an online shopper, I want to receive delivery time notifications so that I can be present to accept my package. This straightforward narrative captures the user's needs and expectations without delving into the specifics of implementation. User stories can cover a wide range of functions and can be grouped into larger narratives known as epics. Prioritizing these stories ensures that you focus on delivering the features that matter most to your users. Break a user story into tasks. In Agile projects, a user story serves as a high-level description of a feature's intended functionality and its importance to the customer. This user story outlines what needs to be achieved but doesn't delve into the specifics of implementation. For instance, consider this user story: as a customer, I want to receive a notification about my order's delivery time so I can be present to accept the shipment. This provides a clear objective but not the detailed steps to achieve it. The next step involves breaking this user story into tasks that detail the specific work required. For example, a task could be to send an email to the customer with the delivery date and tracking information. This task can be further divided into smaller components, such as coding, server configuration, and more. Once broken down, you can estimate the time required for each task and assign them to team members. By starting with the user story, you ensure that all tasks align with a customer-centered goal. What is a sprint? The Agile methodology emphasizes iterative progress, breaking down a project into a series of short, focused development cycles known as sprints. Each sprint, typically lasting 1 to 2 weeks, is a dedicated period where a specific set of tasks is completed. These sprints are designed to be brief enough to maintain high team focus, yet long enough to achieve tangible results. Often referred to as time-boxed development cycles, sprints involve committing to a fixed amount of work within a defined timeframe. Throughout a sprint, the team concentrates on a set number of user stories, detailed tasks and acceptance criteria that guide their efforts. Daily stand-up meetings are used to manage team priorities and address issues, while progress is monitored using a Kanban board. By integrating all these Agile practices, we ensure that our teams can rapidly deliver value aligned with customer needs. What does a product owner do? A key challenge in Agile projects is managing priorities and determining the next steps. With competing demands to add features, improve speed, or boost efficiency, It's clear that not everything can be addressed simultaneously. The product owner plays a crucial role in navigating these demands by aligning customer needs with business goals and team capabilities. Much like a project sponsor in a traditional waterfall setup, the product owner's primary responsibility is to prioritize user stories and decide which features to include. This prioritization ensures that the team focuses on tasks that deliver the greatest value to customers. Additionally, the product owner acts as a liaison between the Agile team and the broader business, requiring a blend of business insight to engage with executives and technical understanding to communicate effectively with users and developers. In essence, the product owner defines the vision for the team's work and guides the product's development trajectory. Run an Agile daily meeting. In Agile projects, effective communication among team members is crucial. One of the most effective methods for this is conducting daily stand-up or scrum meetings with the entire team. These meetings typically follow a simple format where each member addresses 3 key questions. What did you accomplish? What are you working on? What assistance do you need? Daily meetings help project managers keep Kanban boards or scorecards current and enable quick identification and resolution of issues. Keep these meetings brief and dynamic. Around 15 minutes is usually sufficient. They should start and end on time, focusing on providing status updates and identifying potential problems. If an issue arises that can be swiftly resolved, handle it within the meeting. However, for issues needing more in-depth discussion, note them down and address them separately after the meeting concludes. What is acceptance testing? At the conclusion of a sprint in an Agile project, delivering a functional product is essential. We determine if a product is ready through acceptance testing. Acceptance criteria, which consist of specific questions or statements, help us verify if the requirements for a user story are fulfilled. There are 2 main types of acceptance criteria: rule-based and scenario-based. Rule-based criteria are straightforward. For instance, a software package must be located in the install folder. Scenario-based criteria use a 3-part format: given, when, then. For example, given a completed customer order, when products are prepared for delivery, then an email with the tracking number should be sent to the customer. Acceptance criteria must be clear and precise to ensure there is no ambiguity about their fulfillment. All acceptance criteria collectively confirm that the user stories are complete. Multiple criteria can apply to each story, and once all are satisfied, the user story is considered done, allowing the team to progress. What is a project Kanban? Kanban, originally developed by Toyota, is a widely used technique in lean manufacturing and has also been adapted for Agile project management. At its core, Kanban aims to visualize work to enhance transparency and streamline processes. Typically, a Kanban board features tasks organized in rows, with progress tracked across various milestones in columns. This setup allows users to track each task's status using note cards or markers. For example, a basic Kanban board might display 3 tasks on the left side, and their progress is indicated by their column placement. Kanbans provide a clear view of ongoing activities, making it easier to identify tasks that may be stalled or falling behind. While traditional Kanbans are often created on physical boards or whiteboards, electronic versions can be made using spreadsheets or dedicated software. For Kanbans to be effective, they must be accurate and regularly updated to reflect the current state of tasks and their progress. What is a minimum viable product? One key principle of the Agile Manifesto is to prioritize customer satisfaction through the early and continuous delivery of valuable software. A highly effective approach to achieving this is by starting with a minimum viable product, MVP. An MVP is a functional version of the product that demonstrates its core features and capabilities. Unlike traditional waterfall projects, which often suffer from excessive initial scope and include unnecessary features, an MVP allows you to focus on delivering only what is essential. This approach ensures that you address your users' real needs and preferences. By using the MVP, you can move from concept to a tangible product quickly, gather valuable user feedback, and refine the product iteratively. This process enables you to build a product that aligns closely with customer requirements and adds genuine value efficiently.